Hi, Scorpio. This is Just with your November 15th to the 31st reading. I hope you guys are having an enjoyable day so far. Scorpio, happy birthday, by the way, for those of you born in October and soon to be November born Scorpios. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Well, this month, a lot of you have been working really hard. I feel for some of you, there's been a lot of work in one area of or another in your life, whether it be an actual job or just heavily concentrating in an area of your life that may produce income for you. Even if you've been trying to use this time to focus on getting a job, you've been putting a lot of focus and attention on it. So this particular thing that you guys have been really focusing on is to kind of, for some of you, to avoid dealing with another issue. There's something pressing in your life, or there's something that you kind of want that you can't have at this time. And so you're really kind of putting all your time, your energy into something else, really getting focused on one thing because there's something else that's gnawing at you, but you kind of can't have it, or you just have no clue as to, the outcome of a situation. So you're kind of trying to put your focus on something else. A lot of you are really focusing a lot on work. I do see that for those of you, obviously, that's working. But I get this feeling of nostalgia. Some of you are feeling a bit nostalgic, thinking about a particular situation or someone in your life, wanting to be someplace that you can't yet go, wanting to have something that you can't yet have. Okay. But it's definitely in your mind, and knowing that you kind of have to take on a different perspective in order to obtain this thing. There is some form of sacrifice that needs to be made to get you to a place where you feel a sense of security. For some of you, it will be leaving one opportunity and moving on to another. That opportunity will be quite fortunate for some of you. So if you have left one job for another job, it looks like it's going to be very beneficial. You may have had to finagle your way into that job or away from the job that you have. And someone was coercing you. So some of you could have been dealing with like double offers or counter offers. Like, I'm leaving and they're saying, hey, we really want you. Would you take this? Would you like this? We'll give you this. We'll give you that. So kind of unexpected appreciation of people really wanting you, which doesn't, I feel, change the aspect here. A lot of you are still going to move on. Something new and fresh will be definitely more beneficial for those of you that feel like it's time for you to move on. Again, you're working really hard, and I feel like you're working hard so you could eventually move to this place that you want to be. I know I said in my last video that a lot of Scorpios, I say a lot, but clearly, I have to take that into context. But some Scorpios will be focusing during this Jupiter transit in either moving into their own place for the first time or moving on into another space for themselves. Okay. So, and I'm talking about more of a house, something that's a little bit more committed. We will be having Sagittarius exiting Saturn, at the latter part of this year. So you guys won't have Saturn sitting in your second house. For those of you that have Scorpio rising, a lesser degree if you have a sun in Scorpio. But you won't have that heaviness in your income, working so much and not necessarily yielding as much as you could possibly yield. So there is this still hold up, wait a minute, before you get to a place where you feel a strong sense of security and self-independence. It's there, but again, there's still those memories of times when you've kind of like fell back and money was kind of good, but not so good. There was a drought, that things were going. So you're still being cautious. That being said, I do see if you're looking for opportunities, now is a good time. It looks like people are off the fence. They're kind of ready to commit in certain ways as far as companies are concerned. So you will start to hear things back quicker than before. And I do see a lot of movement. And for those of you that are actively looking for work, some of you, surprisingly enough, by the end of the month, a job will come. Not obviously out of nowhere. You have got to put the work in. But for those of you that are in this stasis of like, I need work now. If you've been doing your due diligence and getting yourself out there and you're in this place of like feeling like you're really worried, out of the blue, there will be this opportunity for you to kind of move ahead. Okay. And things start to pick up for you guys. Okay. And some of you, again, I do see offers of a position, by way of a male. I get male energy, someone that is very much results driven, a physical person, someone that actively likes to get out and do things, someone that's more involved in the work sphere. So if that is the hiring supervisor, manager, someone that you're going to be, that kind of runs the department or runs the show, he likes to be involved in what's going on. He's not someone that just sits back and micromanages everyone or looks from a glass office, but he is a part of everything, and there's like constant meetings, and he's always tapped into what's going on. So there is opportunities out there. Some of you will be taking on 2 jobs, so not just one. I do see 2 opportunities here for some of you. There will be something happening out of the blue. Some of you might find out that 1 or 2 people may be exiting where you work, and I don't necessarily feel like it's you guys. I feel like you'll hear that a couple people are being let go. That will yield itself to you having some sense of confusion, not really understanding, and then starting to want to make plans to possibly go someplace else. So there's something that will happen out of the blue, out of your control, but it will spark this new interest or this feeling as though I have to kind of, protect myself. Let me start looking. And again, like I said, the energy is really good for that at this time. Now, we are coming up on holiday season at this time, so there is this sense of taking some trips. If some of you are going that lives in the United States, I don't know how much of you practice some of the seasonal festivities that are here in the United States, but whomever is practicing or indulging in festivities for around this time, it looks really favorable for those of you that's planning to go on a trip. It looks like, again, I see some finagling. So trying to get away from work, trying to get some time scheduled, trying to get away from one obligation to go to another, that sort of thing. So trying to fit the schedule or timing with what you want to do. And it's almost like an out of the blues or yearning to want to go someplace and kind of be in a different environment. It seems that if that's the case, you may be going with someone or a couple of people. There may be a little bit of confusion about, the planning of it all and how exactly do we do this? How exactly are we going to be able to make this work? Because it looks like either you or someone attached to this trip is going to have some type of scheduling problem. But it does seem like it will be available and successful for some of you. Now, as it relates to money for the latter part of November, it looks again that you guys are doing really well. Those of you that are working, when I say well, whatever you're making enough to suffice yourself and perhaps get the things that you want. There is something, however, that you want to start new, something. So some of you could have recently gotten a new job, gotten an increase, some money's coming back to you, a second job. So there is some form of more income or income that you have that you now want to kind of invest. Okay. That may involve other people. It could be projects that you're working on that will yield you a little bit extra money, side jobs that you're doing just to, again, get more money. And it looks like some of you may be at a point where you're not really sure how you're going to take this money, what you're doing with your money. I would say try to take a step back, because I do see money coming in and money kind of going out at the same time, because in your mind state, you feel very very secure monetarily. But the reality is that you need to cultivate this money. You need to have a plan and have a real understanding of what you have and where you want to go with it, because there's opportunity to build capital. Okay. And there's an opportunity to invest in what you have. So be very careful that you're not spending as quickly as you're getting, because you're going to kind of stay at that same place. With that being said, there may be a situation where you have to, I don't feel like put out money, but as we get to the second week of November, I feel like there will be an event, and for all of you, it will be different, that is going to happen out of the blue. However, there will be some form of worry. If it's not you, it will be someone close to you, that there's some worry around a situation that literally kind of happens. So if you have a partnership with 2 other people, there may be some concern about, where are we going with this partnership? Maybe we need to kind of get rid of 2 people, or when I say we, if it's 3, then 2 people may want to exit. A person may want to exit a issue with the company that no one's necessarily exiting, but there's some issues that kind of breaks things down. And then you're kind of left to pick up the pieces and you have to start anew. That's definitely the theme of what's happening for you guys as we get to the end of November, that there will be some almost like scratching or tearing out the blueprint, if you will, to some extent, and then being a bit confused about where do you go from here, but then kind of picking up the pieces and taking those steps of moving forward and starting over again. Okay. So again, for those of you that this will relate to, it will be different. You just have to apply it to your circumstance. All right. And I do see finagling. I do see whatever shakeups there are that's going on for you guys. So there will be some shakeups and you having to kind of get back into a place of calm. It will be beneficial. You may not even realize it right now. Some of you may, there may be a loss of a home, a loss of ... Okay. And I don't want people freaking out thinking their home it's already something that has some significance of worry. So there's some form of worry that either is here now or will be present as we get like next week. There'll already be some worry. So if you're worried about a job, if you're worried about finances or something like that, then things will kind of happen. But again, always remember the light at the end of the tunnel. And that is, this is for your better good. You're going to get on the other side of it. It will be beneficial for you. It's almost going to happen, and it almost will trigger you to jolt you into having to kind of wake up out of this every day doing the same thing or trying to stay safe or trying to protect yourself so much. Almost this thing is happening in order for you, again, to kind of nudge you in a specific position. So don't look at it as like the worst thing on earth. Just know that it's going to take a couple steps back. You may be a little disheveled, but again, it's something that will spring a new direction in your life. Okay. And it will be something beneficial that you may think to yourself, okay, it's time for me to move. It's time for me to get a new place. It's time. And then looking back on how long it took you to get there, the steps it took you, it may have disheveled you, right? But ultimately speaking, it was the best decision that you could have made. So it's something like that. There is a light at the end of the tunnel. So now with love, I'm seeing that some of you are definitely in a stasis of nostalgia. Like I said, you could be thinking about someone from your past that you can't be with. You can't be with this person, or you may be thinking about a situation in your past involving another, and you kind of can't be with that person. For those of you that this relates to and you're not dealing with this person, you've moved on. This person is kind of handling whatever they're handling. Their life has become kind of full and they're more focused on whatever's going on in their life. And they're not really interested at this time with checking in on you or even thinking about, what is on your mind at this time. Emotionally, you're trying to kind of pick up the pieces and move on. And some of you've done that very successfully. And you've used work or other things in your life to make more of the focus to get on the other side of not turning it into an obsessive thought where that's all you seem to think about, which is really good. Now, the issue here is that you really wanted, or you thought something was going to manifest in more of the way that would be more permanent. This person could have been conveying that to you. Vice versa, this could be happening, to you. And someone could be thinking this about you as well, but you're not sure, or they weren't sure. After like a 2-week period, things kind of went from, wow, this could be something, to no, this isn't going to be anything. And I feel like there's this thought for some Scorpio women of thinking, if this is you can relate to this aspect of the love portion, that does he even care? Did he care? Did it even matter to him? You're kind of stuck in that place because you've been trying to figure out, how does he become so cold? How does he become so unaffected by, what we shared, what we had, that sort of thing. It may even come up on an anniversary time where you met someone. It could be 2 years ago, 2 months ago, around this same time, you were doing something with someone that you cared for, you had something going on with, and it brings you back to those memories of that person. So it could be that as well. Now, I do see that some of you, if you've been having this time of reprieve from relationships and that sort of thing, because again, there's been a bit of a sting from a previous situation, I do feel like you're making a decision to get out. This will be that time, and it's good for your birthday season. Always keep in mind, this is your New Year's time. It's not December 31st like everyone's been made to believe. this is your time. So you always want to put yourself in an environment that is happy, that's safe, that's secure, that is around people that love you, that, is perpetuating those good, positive, and that good, positive energy for you, and make that surrounding be your reality, because that will permeate throughout the next 12 months of your life. So you want to kind of be very, purposeful in how that kind of happens for you. That being said, I do feel like some of you will move and start to move on. And in moving on, getting away from this hang up and thinking about the situation, trying to figure it out, kind of letting that be, whatever it is, not trying to be okay with not knowing every little detail of why that person did A, B, and C, but letting it go and moving on from it, I feel will be very beneficial for you. Okay. It will bring better energy. And I see that as you get towards the end of the month, there may be a situation where if some of you try to contact this person, okay, there may be a situation where you're left feeling very confused. Someone could be contacting you out of the blue. Like you've thought about this person, you hadn't heard from them in forever, and now all of a sudden they're calling you because it's your birthday time, or it's a holiday time and everyone kind of seems to be a little bit more social around this time. You may hear from the person, and when you do, that's going to bring up a bunch of emotions. Okay. And some of you may not even be thinking about this person, and all of a sudden they kind of creep back up, but that's been the scenario of the situation, and you've come to a place where you're okay with what's happened in the past, and then this person actually is thinking about you. They're thinking about the past. So it's not you, it's them. You will hear from them. When you do that, there will be, again, like this feeling confused, not really sure, not telling anyone what's really going on, trying to process it for yourself, trying to put things into perspective. And you may hear that this person either wants to see you, like there's the beginnings of some form of interest here. Okay. So when you heard from no one, you'll start to hear from someone, and especially if they're at a distance from you. Okay. But it also can communicate that there's just been time apart and you haven't spoken to the person. Now, for those of you that's in a relationship, I feel like some of you are like two ships passing in a night, even if you're not, even if you are living together. There's like this duality in what's happening between you and your mate. Okay. There may have been this wanting to like take a trip or go someplace together, do something together, but there may have been, you may need to wait. You may need to sacrifice. So maybe your mate may not be able to go with you. You may have to go by yourself, vice versa. Or your mate could be working really hard to surprise you, because I do see a bit of a surprise coming your way. But I feel like right now your mate is like doing their own thing and trying to take care of all the things that they're taking care of. And you're trying to seek some form of happiness. You're busy. You've done a lot. And now you're on to the next thing. So there is this separatism. You're not necessarily doing things together. But the reality is that I feel that there is some of you may be trying to figure out where you're going in this relationship, or your mate is trying to figure out where you guys are going in this relationship. Some of you may be like two minutes from being out the door. The reality is, and then you're just mentally preparing yourself, or you may feel like she's mentally preparing yourself. If you're a Scorpio man, she may be mentally preparing herself to, eventually not be with you, because there's this like, I'm on the hills of leaving this situation because I thought it was one thing. Now it's proven to me that it's kind of not going to be. And either the person is feeling that same way, or they kind of can sense it as well. Now I have to tell you that Uranus will be transiting your 7th house as we get into May, I believe, of 2017 in Taurus. For those of you specifically, if you have Scorpio rising, in a lesser degree for those of you that has Sun in Sun in Scorpio. So there will be shakeups and changes in your relationships sector as it relates to one-to-one partnerships on all levels. It will be far more unconventional. So there may be already this sense of like, that kicking up for some of you, realizing like, where are we going with this situation? And there may be this opportunity for you guys to do something different. That will be the catalyst of maybe moving, taking this opportunity to say, I'm going to move, I'm going to leave, I'm going to do something different. It's not happening in the month of November, but it will kind of start to kick off. I'm trying to give a little bit more attention to you guys since it's your birthday, but I want to also wrap this up because it's getting quite lengthy. So that I see that there may be a little bit as we get to the second week of November, so the latter part of November, there may be a little bit of worry. You guys trying to work things out. You guys trying to come back at page one together. Although there's still some worry, and I feel like there's going to be something happening out of the blue that gives some form of pause or concern. There may be something new that your partner is starting that makes you feel as though, you know, I'm not a part of any of this. Like, you're making all these plans for your life and I don't seem to be a part of it. Or they may want to do something or go someplace, and it just really seems like it's not together. You understand? You know how when you living life together because you make those big decisions and plans together, and then it seems like some of you are making plans individually, or someone's making plans kind of without you, and it seems like all the plans they're making is creating more and more of a gap between the two of you. So that's what I see for you guys. Others of you that's, you know, in something a little bit less complicated, clearly there could be some money issues that's kind of drawing a wedge between the two of you. I feel like working together or wanting to work together, start a business together, there may be a difference in opinion of how things are going to be structured, who takes on what responsibility, but ultimately it looks like it can work out. I don't see necessarily breakups. Doesn't mean that breakups won't happen, but if it will leave you in a sense of bewilderment and confusion if there are breakups. But I don't necessarily see breakups. For those of you that have relationships, this seems to be the beginning reveal of, you know, perhaps cracks in that relationship, issues that you need to work on, money issues that you kind of need to talk to about you and your mate, because there is some issues that both of you have that I feel like aren't necessarily being verbalized to one another. So that's what I have for you guys for the remainder of November. I'm sorry it took this long. If you would like to share with us how this relates to you, please do so in the comment section below. I would love to hear from you. And I will attach a 3-month love reading for those of you who are interested in finding out what's been going on and what will be going on for the remainder of 2017. I'll put that at the end of this video. If you would like a personal reading with me, you can find me at the beginning and end to this video, as well as in the description box. And if you're new to this channel, welcome, 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 and subscribe, because I will be back very soon with another one, and I'm sure it'll be much shorter than this. Take care, Scorpio.